Alright guys, welcome to 8.2 part 2. So this is your homework. This is what you're going to do on a piece of paper. Again, I'm going to do a couple of these with you, but there are a few things I want to go over. So 8.2 is vertex form. The big thing is, why is this called vertex form? So we have a couple examples. The easiest one that I can think of. So I did this. Plus do 4. Okay. So there's a few things that vertex form helps us understand. So when we do vertex, normally when it was in standard form, we had to do negative b over 2a. The nice thing about vertex form is you already have it. So when I do this problem, my vertex is my h and my k. So my problem, my h is right here, my k is right here. So my vertex is going to be 2, 4. Notice the h, I changed the sign, I made it a positive 2, but the k I kept the same. So this is what vertex form looks like. However, I'm going to say it's 2, 4. Another thing we need to look at is this right here. So the number out front, the a, if a is greater than 1, which it is in our case, it makes your parabola narrow. So what that means is it goes from wide to really skinny. So your parabola is going to be skinnier. If a is between 0 and 1, aka it's probably a decimal or a fraction, it's going to widen your parabola. So it's going to make it wider. And the last thing is, if this is positive, guys, I know my parabola is going to go up. So if a is positive, it's going to go up. If a is negative, my parabola is going to go down. So those are the key characteristics of vertex form. And we're going to use those to help us write a few equations or graph an equation depending on what they ask us to do. So the first problem I'm going to do with you guys, you can go ahead and write it down. So it says identify the vertex, axis symmetry, and direction of the following function. Compare the width of your graph with the width of f of x equals x squared. Remember, this right here is our parent function, guys. So we're comparing it to the parent function. So the first thing I want to find is my vertex. So I'm going to use this equation, and we're going to find the vertex from it. Remember, it's based off your h and your k. However, the h I'm going to use the opposite sign of. So it's a positive 5, I'm going to use a negative 5. And on the outside is my k, so my vertex is negative 5, 5. Remember, your axis of symmetry, guys, is based off of the x value. So my x value is negative 5, so I'm going to say x equals negative 5. That's my axis of symmetry. Direction, I want to know if it goes up or down. So look at the a, is it positive or negative? If it's positive, that means it's going to go up. And the last thing is the width. Does it narrow or does it widen? So remember, if the number is greater than 1, if my a is greater than 1, it's going to narrow. All right? So I'm going to have you do a couple of these by yourself. So number 1, you should have the answers for you. You can write that down. Number 2 is right here. If you have to, you can pause the video. I want you to answer those same 4 questions. The vertex, the axis of symmetry, the direction, and the width of the graph. So whenever you do these problems, these are where you're going to submit to Classroom as well. So there's 2 assignments, the last page of the packet, and now this. I want you to write these problems on a piece of paper and do them. So number 2 is right there for you. You can pause it, you can solve it. If you can't see the problems, please let me know and I will make sure you guys can. Number 3, same thing. I want you to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the direction of your graph, and the width of the graph. Does it narrow, does it widen, does it go up or down, axis of symmetry and vertex. Same thing on number 4. So I'm asking you to do 3 problems by yourself. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to. You can solve it as well. So 1 through 4, you're going to do 2 through 4 by yourself. Okay, now we're on to number 5. So I want to talk about number 5. It says, the graph shown is a translation of the graph of f(x) equals x squared. Write the function in vertex form. Remember, vertex form is this right here, guys. A x minus h squared plus k. So normally our parent function, what we're basing it off of, starts at 0, 0, goes, it looks like this. So this is my parent function. I went and graphed it so we had it just to see it. So now let's talk about vertex form. I'm going to take the vertex and I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, and I move it up 6. So how can I write 4 to the right? Well, I can put it inside parentheses and it's lying to me. So 4 to the right means I'm going to subtract 4. Now, if I move up 6, that means at the outside I'm going to put plus 6. Now I've got to ask myself, did I do anything to make it narrow or wider? Well, it went right 1, up 1 from the vertex. Didn't we go right 1, up 1 from the vertex? So I didn't do anything to the A, so I'm not going to put anything in the A spot. I'm just going to leave it as a 1. So this would be my answer, because I moved my vertex right 4, up 6. So now I want you guys to do number 6. I want you to write the function in vertex form. Where did you go? Did you move it left or right, up or down? Did you make it narrow or wider? Again, you can pause it to solve that problem if you need to. Now number 7, it says sketch the graph of the function. So we're going to need a few things to sketch the graph. The first thing we're going to need is the vertex. I can find my vertex because it's in vertex form. So my vertex is going to be 4, 1. So I'm going to go to 4, 1 and plot a point. 4, 1. Now my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 4. So I'm going to draw a little dashed line on 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. The next thing that we usually find, or does it go up or down? In this case, it's a positive, so it's going to go upward. And last thing, does it get narrow or wider? If you think about it, it's going to be narrow. But how can we figure out some points that are going to make it narrow? So let's talk about this. If 4, 1 is my middle, I can use points to the left and to the right of 4 to graph some other points. So let's say 3, because it's to the left of 4, and 2. Now let's plug in 3 and solve it. So 3 times 3 minus 4 squared plus 1. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm plugging in 3 and solving it. I get 4. So 3, 4 is a coordinate I could use. How far away is 3 from 4, my vertex? It is 1 unit to the left. If I go 1 unit to the right, I'm going to get the same answer. So I can go ahead and fill that in as well. So I'm going to graph those 2 points, 3, 4, and 5, 4. If you can graph 2 points, I know you can probably do the rest of it. So I'm going to let you finish the parabola and graph it from there. Again, do not use Desmos on this, guys. You have to understand how to do it by yourself. Number 8, I want you guys to try this one by yourself. So go ahead and pause the video. I will put the answer in here. However, I do want you to try it by yourself. Your vertex is going to end up being negative 4, 1. You do know it's going to go upward. You know your axis symmetry is on negative 4. And you know it's going to get wider. So I'm going to make a little t-chart to find some other points. So negative 4, 1 is my middle, which means I can use negative 5, negative 6, because that's to the left of negative 4, or I could use negative 3, negative 2, because that's to the right. So I'm going to plug in -3. I'm going to use this one first right here. So 0.75 times -3 plus 4 squared plus 1. When you do that, you get 1 squared plus 1. I get a decimal. A decimal is kind of hard to graph, so let's try a different number. Let's try -2. So I'm going to do that one in red. 0.75 times -2 plus 4 squared plus 1. That ends up being a whole number. That's a little bit easier to graph. I also know because it's 2 units away that -6 is going to be the same answer. It's 2 units away from my vertex, so it's also going to have the same answer. So -2, 4, -6, 4. And then we connect it. That's my parabola. So hopefully you did that by yourself and you got it correct. I'll probably throw a question in there so you can answer it and try it. Now number 9, it says the function f of x equals 2 times x minus 3 squared plus 9 is graphed in a coordinate plane. Which of the following are true? I want you to write down which are true, A, B, C, D, or E. And it says select all that applies, so it could be more than one answer. So make sure you go through and you look at each one and see if it applies to your problem. And the last one, number 10, I want you to select the correct answer. So graph of f of x equals x squared is translated right 2 units and down 10 units. Which of the following is the function of the new graph? And choose the correct answer below. So this is your homework. We've done some of it together. I want you to take a picture of it when you are done and submit it along with the last page of that packet that we just did as a transformations, as the exploration. If you guys have any questions, please send me an email. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on Friday.